In your college, you might be learning that subject. Basically, they are used for storing large volume transactional data, right? How many withdrawals happen today, how many deposits happen, who opened the bank accounts, how many loans are, new loans people are opting for. So these are all some practical scenarios. Understood? So imagine at that time if there is a new job role of data analyst. So back in those days, people were doing this data analyst role. A purpose of that role is you run the SQL queries and then create reports. Understood? So you have to run the SQL queries. I want to select star from so and so table. I want to aggregate on some kind of records and so on. And then I finally get like, okay, in this bank location, there are so many loans applied, this much cash transactions happened, this much withdrawal happened, and so on. Understood? So the primary role was called as data analyst. Okay. So in many of the terms, you will have these confusions like you have data analyst, you have machine learning engineer, AI engineer, Gen AI engineer, and a lot of other things, right? Probably after this session, I will try to talk a little bit about what the role was. Okay. So the data analyst role was pretty clear. I have to run the SQL queries. I create some reports. They were also creating the visualizations, right? So visualizations can show some graphs, right? Some charts and so on. And then they can talk to the higher officials, for example, senior executives. They can show the reports and then they will be able to, tell that what is the situation of the bank. Are you following so far? Right? So we used to run these queries, and these queries basically used to run on the actual databases, the ODSs we call them as operational data stores, right? The actual RDBMS tables, we used to run them, and then when the actual transactions are happening, the cashier is depositing money. At the same time, the analyst is also doing the queries. Are you visualizing this? What is happening? Right? So there is this clogging. Understood? The clogging happened where people wanted to run these analytical queries. At the same time, the regular business is also happening. So because of the clogging, people started creating something called as nightly jobs. So around 2005, 2010, in that time frame, people have these job roles of nightly job data analysts. Okay. What they do is basically run these jobs, the SQL jobs, in the night. So 9 o'clock, batch runs in the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight, 12 o'clock, and so on. Understood? So what is the reason for that? Because if my business is running during the day, suppose ICICI Bank is operating from morning 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. After 5 o'clock, our data analyst will get activated. They will create jobs and they will run the jobs. Understood? So that we can create a report, and then your report will be fed to the given to any of the senior officials and so on. Understood? So that job role created nightly jobs. What happened during that time is the internet revolution happened, right? The internet was more prevalent. We also have mobile devices, right? So there was no such time, right? I can say that, okay, only morning 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, the business is active. It's not like that. So we call that as lean period. So what is a lean period? It is a time in which I can say, okay, this is the time I have available. My data analyst can run the jobs. Understood? So there was no such lean period, and that's the way a new technology came into picture called as data warehousing. Have you heard of data warehousing? Right? In our subjects also we have. But why and how it came is this was the reason. Right? Data warehousing was introduced for two major reasons. The first reason was I have my actual tables and then I have my data warehousing tables. I will decouple them. Decoupling in sense, actual data will not be available in the ODSs. I will create a copy. Have you heard of something called as ETL? No? Oh, yeah, extract, transform, and load. Okay, a concept in which you take the data from actual tables, do some transformation, and load it in the warehousing tables. Both look same. There's no great change. Both are like Oracle tables. Both are like everything is same, but the nature of the operations is different. Understood? Why the data warehousing came into picture? Got it? So data warehousing also has one other important role. Okay, the important role is they have ability to store historical data. So I can store 1 year back data, I can store 5 years back data, and I can also have monthly data, right? So when I am able to store these different older data, I will have ability to now do this kind of transactions, right? So I can compare like how is the bank deposits last year when compared 5 years back. Is there a trend? Is there a seasonality? Things like that. Understood? There are a lot of roles even today in the data warehousing field. Okay, so the reason I'm talking this, probably I don't have slide, I beg your pardon, I'm just giving you the story. Please listen to me and try to visualize it in your brain, right? The role of data warehousing engineers is still active, right? So AI is always very, very flashy, right? So AI engineer, Gen AI engineer, agentic engineer, and so on. It is really very flashy. You can certainly, there are jobs, I'm not saying there are not jobs, but there are other areas also which are important. My small talk, I'm going to give you those other areas. First area, you got it? What is it? Data warehousing. Okay. So when you're targeting that I want to get into these companies, I want to get into these roles, I want to learn these technologies, so on, so on. There is some, I'm not sure you saw in Instagram or LinkedIn or somewhere, there's one poster where there will be a person who is talking on Agentic AI or Generative AI. Everybody will come there. And there is other poster who is talking on data and nobody will be there. Right? Have you seen this? Yeah? So this is the same situation. What we need to understand is what are the available roles? How do we prepare ourselves for those roles? We as senior leaders, we are trying to identify that. We're not saying that everybody should have the capability of generative AI and all that stuff. They should have core understanding of how data gets transformed, what are the core technologies available, where they can put in their expertise. Understood? So one key takeaway is having an understanding of warehousing, how the ETL jobs run, how can I create some simple ETL jobs where I transform data from one table to another table. There are a lot of aggregations. I'm not getting into details of it, but just remember that it is a one technology. The second technology, which is very important, is ability to create visualizations. Have you heard of Tableau, Power BI, Python-based visualizations, right? You might be learning Python. So there are a lot of Python-based toolings. We can create visualizations using Matplotlib, Seaborn, Bokeh, Plotly, and many tools are there. Why do we do visualizations? Anybody can give me an example? To better understanding of data. Yeah, same. So yeah, so basically same. So we have to better understand the data. Why I have to understand the data? So analyze patterns, right? So I want to analyze patterns, saying that what is the trend in the data? What is the data speaking? Correct? So for that, there are again roles. What are the roles? There are data visualization engineers. Those roles are not again Gen AI, Agentic AI, but they know how to run the tools, they know how to create dashboards, they know how to create these things and so on, right? So they have the ability to understand patterns of the data and understand what the data is speaking, right? It is also important for them to identify right columns. For example, after visualizations, people will do something called as classical machine learning. Okay? In classical machine learning, I need to know, okay, I have this table. In the table, I have 15 columns or say 100 columns. Okay? Out of this 100 columns, what are the columns which will help me to do the prediction? For example, I want to predict a loan. I want to predict whether this customer should I give a loan or not, right? How do I say that, okay, these columns are important? I need to understand the pattern. I need to understand something called as correlations between data, right? So once I understand the clear correlations, the ones which gives us the clues, right? I call them as clues. The ones which gives us the maximum clues, I'll pick them up. How do I know that? Because I have tons of data. I don't have this thought of looking at the table and determining that the first column, 8th column, 24th column is important. There's no way, correct? I need to kind of draw some kind of charts, graphs, and so on. That is another important role, right? Another important role in which you can target about becoming a data visualization engineer. The tools like Tableau, Power BI, these are other ones are very, very popularly used. We can also learn Python based tooling, and that will help you to get into that kind of roles, right? So after that role, I was talking about machine learning engineering, right? Now this is beast, okay? And then everybody is exploiting. Sorry, I don't know whether I can talk or not, but this is like huge area, right? Huge area, machine learning, CSC, ML. CSC mechanical is closed, and now we have CSC, ML, correct? You know that, correct? Good, it's very important. Okay, we are adding new skills and so on. But the thing we have to concentrate is, that is just one single piece of the entire equation. Now I talked about how to do data warehousing, I talked about how to do data transformation, how to do data visualization, right? Machine learning, you can just visualize that it is the central piece, okay? Now what we do in machine learning, are you guys aware? Yeah? I don't have to talk about that, right? Correct. So it's simple, based on the past data, I am trying to predict what is going to happen in the future. So we are trying to, if somebody asks me, Sitaram, can you just give me a very simple explanation of what is machine learning? I will tell that it is nothing but a formula creator. Okay? It is a formula creator. It is, what it does is it creates a formula between inputs and outputs. You know the formula y is equals to mx plus c, right? The equation of a line basically representing something called as regression. Okay? Again, I'm not going into technologies, but just imagine that a machine learning is nothing but a formula creator. Somebody asks you also, just say that it's nothing but a formula creator. What is it creating formula for? It is creating the formula between my outputs and inputs. Correct? So once I create the formula, I have to extract the formula into something called as a model, and that model can be used in the future. Right? So I can use the model for doing predictions. I can use the model via two methodologies. Okay? The one methodology is called as a batch methodology, and the second one is called as a online methodology. Understand? Are you following so far? Within machine learning, I am not talking about technologies. Okay? Again, there is supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, reinforcement learning, and all that stuff. Then within that supervised machine learning, we have classification, regression. Within classification, we have random forest, XGBoost, decision trees, and all that. I will not bore you. You understand, right? There is some masala is there. Okay, we know that something is there. Okay, a pure some big area is there which is doing a lot of technologies and so on. But then that is one piece of the entire equation. Okay, so after it is very important for you guys to concentrate on not on creating the model, but aftermath of the model. Okay, now what I do after creating the model? Anybody? Fine tune. Any other? Testing. Okay. Training is creating model. What you do? Model is there. What you do after that? Doing predictions. So that doing predictions in real time is called as deployment. Okay. So for deployment, there are other skills. You need to understand toolings like Flask. You need to understand Fast API, Django, right? These are the ones you need to be aware about. You might be talking about Python, but if you want to do a focused learning, can we create a simple machine learning application using Fast API? ChatGPT is there. You can just quickly type it and then it will give you a nice example. What I would say is we complement it. Okay? Please believe me that in the coming few years, vibe coding is become normal. Okay? That is going to be the de facto standard. So we are not going to remember the syntax and all those things will be gone. We will be working along with the agents. Okay, so vibe coding, have you heard about vibe coding? Yeah? If you have not heard, it is just like I am using ChatGPT for my work. Simple, for my coding. Okay, how do I ask ChatGPT saying that can you create a program, machine learning program, which can take banking data and do loan prediction? I can type this in my prompt, you can do it, right? And then it will give the code. All you just need is how to understand the code and execute it. Understood? So in that, what I was talking is, you have two type of deployments. You need to understand how do we do the deployments. Because everybody is learning machine learning. Understand? People are like just going and learning the ML piece of it. Of course, all of you will learn that. But next step, because it is very important, it's a great initiative by Swecha, right? So I'm able to give this information. So you need to focus on the next step. Okay, I have a model. What are the different ways of deploying model? Right? Can you take this assignment for yourself over the weekend and say, can I deploy a simple machine learning model as simple as iris classifier? Okay? You don't have to complicate this much transformation, this much model and all that stuff. Don't do all the complications. Very, very simple model. Take that example. Iris classifier, you are familiar with it? Right? Very simple model. It will tell what is the flower. Okay? As simple as it. So I can take the model and can you deploy in different possible ways. Two types of deployments are there. You need to learn about these programming I'm saying about. You need to know at least Flask or Fast API. If you ask me what technology is used, I would say Fast API. Please go with it. It's very widely used. If you want to create full-blown applications, we will use Django. But Fast API is the one which is like the de facto standard. Okay. So what is the assignment? Make a very simple model. Ask ChatGPT to create the model. Once the model is created, ask ChatGPT to how to create deployment for that model. And then deploy the model. And then do the invocations to the model. Understood? Simple, right? So out of the 100 people, there will be only 10-15 people who will be doing this. The rest of our people will not do it. I am 100% confident, but whoever does it, they will get that understanding. Correctly? So your part of that 15 people is what you have to determine. So in the deployment, there are two methodologies I said. Okay, we are still in the first slide, pardon me. Okay, but I hope you are following. Right, we'll come to the generative AI and then to the agentic AI. Because you don't know anything agentic AI, it will be very nice for me to explain that. But we are at deployment. In the deployment, we have two methodologies. The batch deployment. Again, there are a lot of jobs for batch deployment. The job is called as machine learning engineer. I have a team of machine learning engineers. Our purpose is doing all the production grade deployments, ensuring that they are working fine and so on. So our team does that. So don't just go by data scientist as a role. Okay? There is machine learning engineer also. What a machine learning engineer do? They'll do the deployment, but what skills they need? Anybody? Not ML algorithms. Any thoughts? REST API, understanding of REST API, correct? Any other thoughts? Okay, so Python is there. We have some frameworks to build the APIs. Those things are there. Those are required. Apart from that, people need to have an ability to understand Dockers. People need to have an ability to understand how do you deploy smaller applications into something like Kubernetes. Okay? So these two things, if you reach till there, then you are already through. Understanding? Because the people will stop at machine learning engineering only. They will say accuracy, precision, recall. You know that, right? Right? RMSE score. Correct? You'll stop there. After that is like, okay, creating model. After that is deploying it. How do you deploy it? What methodologies are there? Where do I deploy it? Should I deploy on-prem or should I deploy on cloud? Okay? So machine learning engineer, they have the skill set of one API based thing. Either you can use Flask or Fast API. And then they have understanding of Dockers. Kubernetes based deployments. Okay, I'll not talk about Dockers, but if you want to do that focused course, you have to learn that part. And then it has these two flavors. I can run my batch job. Again, for batch job, again there are other tooling is there. I'll not tell you about those things because they are a little complicated. Right? The tools like Airflow, how do you do scheduling and all that stuff. You know what is the scheduling? Yes? Scheduling? Okay. So every day at 9 o'clock this job should run, and then job should take whoever is applied for loan on that day. Say 100 people applied. Out of the 100 people, it should predict out of the 100 people how many got loan, how many did not get loan. This should happen in a scheduled manner. Right? There is a batch job which is running. Correct? How do we ensure that every day 9 o'clock there is this job running? CI/CD, exactly. So the basic term of it is scheduling. Okay. So CI/CD pipeline you can create. I'll not complicate that, like how do you create Jenkins and all that stuff, but have an understanding of how do you schedule these jobs. Got it? So what we understood from the start, we'll take a step back. We understood we have opportunities in data warehousing, opportunities in data engineering. So you ingest the data into do transformations and so on. Then opportunities in data visualizations, and then core opportunities in machine learning like classical machine learning models, and then ability to create deployments. The job role is machine learning engineer. The person will know like how to do Dockerization of applications and all that stuff. Correct? Once the machine learning engineer deploys the applications into production, machine learning engineer will also do something else called as monitoring. Okay? What is monitoring? Okay, I deployed my model in January, and now what is the state of the model? Understood? So model is there. I spent my December time and like worked 24/7, deployed the model in January. But now what is the state of the model right now? Is it in the similar lines? Is it like any issues are there with the predictions? The things are called as drift. Basically, drifting is basically which talks about there is a change in the data. Means whenever I trained the model and whenever I am doing predictions, the things are different. Okay? So that is called as drift. Understood? I will not talk more about it, but monitoring again is the role of what? Whose role is it? ML engineers. Okay? ML engineers, there are lot many responsibilities are there. A lot of scope is there, lot many responsibilities are there. They have to do all those things, deployments, monitoring, and we also need to do something called as explainability, fairness detection, governance and so on. Okay? One other interesting, very interesting use case which everybody, even not freshers, even seniors may say is ability to do quality assurance testing. Okay? So these models are require testing, correct? Who will do the testing? If all of us will do ML? Testers. So those tester jobs are vacant. So it's like the same example, right? Somebody putting the tester board, nobody is going there, and then somebody is putting AI engineer role and like there's 1,000 people. You understanding? One very essential point is, as freshers, we need to get entry into right area. Right? I was talking to one of the college, there was very bright guy, they said that, sir, I was getting campus interview for application developer SDE role. I don't like application developer, I want only data scientist. I said, don't do that kind of mistake. While these roles will be there for quite a long time, there are a lot of other roles where there are vacancy, ability for you to join. And there is nothing like, okay, this role is good, this role is bad and so on. We are all working for the company, right? Of course, I am working for the company, whoever you guys join, you work for the company, company makes revenue, you get salary, that's all those things. If you have ambitions that, okay, I want to do greater things, right? You can spend the time, you can learn things, and later you could do that. Don't get this into mindset that I only want this thing. Because everybody is standing in a huge line. You're understanding? Just visualize that everybody is standing in a huge line and there are only two roles. Now what happens? First two guys will get it, you are like having your resumes and then not doing anything. So the purpose of my first slide and then giving all the story, bringing from that time to this time is giving you ability to visualize these different roles, and then we focus on those roles. Okay, so there is a dearth of, we created 3 years back something called as machine learning testers. That role was not there. Okay, 3-4 years back we created that role, then we are looking for people, nobody was there. We were going to people with Selenium skills, we are going for people who was having load runner and other kind of testing based tools, and then if they know that technology, we were taking them. You understood? So testing is very, very essential. Now coming to the classical machine learning, there is again one more section called as Generative AI and Agentic AI. Okay, 80% of business, 80 to 90% I would say, of the business revenue is generated by classical machine learning. That means what? The regular classification models, regular prediction models, recommendation models, they are called as classical machine learning. 80% of the business are getting revenue from that models. Now what are we flashing like every day? You see like big banner generative AI, correct? And then we learn generative AI, correct? What is generative AI? How much business revenue it is generating? What is the value of it? All those things are important. We are just learning it for the fact of learning, but you need to understand that where is the industry heading. Of course, industry is experimenting heavily on generative AI and agentic AI. Okay, but how many jobs are open? How many opportunities are there? Where you can fit in? All those things are bigger questions. Anybody will ask you? Nobody will ask you. Everybody will say, okay, Gen AI is the next cool thing, right? There was one tag like sexiest job of the data scientist is the sexiest job of 21st century. There was one tagline, okay? This was back in 8-9 years back, okay? But now that job is gone, right? If I say, please learn machine learning, data science means they'll say like, okay, this is all old technology, correct? People don't want to learn data science, understanding? But you need to verify that where are the jobs and which will give you that entry. Now coming to generative AI, I have large volumes of unstructured data and I have applications. For example, I will talk about my bank's application. We have a policy document. The bank is having a lot of legal documentation. Okay. Now this legal documentation, there are many, we call them as RMs. What they do, RMs basically have to do a lot of changes to the legal documents, give questions, answer any questions from the legal documents. So can I create a chatbot which just look at the data? Now there is a process in which you convert the data into vectors and then get outputs from the vectors and so on. But can I just have this data which is in the textual format and it can give the RM's ability to ask questions? Okay, I can ask like for the gold card, what is the percentage interest rate? Okay, so it can give, the chatbot can give any answers. Now how you can create any applications with that? For example, do you have any textbooks? You might have some PDFs. Can you load the textbooks and create an application where you can ask any questions, it can create an answer. You can do it. That is one application of generative AI. One other interesting application which we have built is whenever there are any amendments, amendment is what? Change, right? So 2000 rupees note is no longer valid. Okay, this is an amendment. Now this amendment has to go to every document, correct? So if it is manually done, there will be suite of 100 people, they are sitting like checking all the documents. That is used to happen 2 years back. Any amendment comes, there will be like people who will be reviewing the document, understanding where the amendment has to be incorporated, where the change has to be done, and then finally update the document. Are you understanding? With generative AI, we are able to do that amendments using generative AI. We don't need humans for that now. It's a great benefit, right? It will understand what is the amendment, where does it exactly fit in the entire document, which all places it has to change. So you load any policy document, it changes all these details, and then finally create a reviewable document for the RM to finally review the document. Understood? This is another example of generative AI. Any other examples which you can think about generative AI? You heard of it, right? Any other? Generating images and videos, right? So can I generate a what we call as credit memo? Okay, some new creditors, we have to provide an email called as credit memo, which talks about all the rules and so on, and then it will also have these images. So what we are creating is this entire email, we are documenting in the credit memo format, and that credit memo will have all the details, like it will do the query to the underlying database, it will get all the details, and then finally it will also have a nice image embedded, right? And then it is like DBS proprietary image, and that will create a nice email, and then you can send it to the agents. Got it? So using of creating of images and videos. The question is, where do I require to create videos? Where do I need to require to create images is important, right? It's fancy to create videos, but now what is the business use of it? Correct? That is important. Another interesting application is DBS is having multiple branches. We have branches in India, we have in Singapore, we have in Taiwan, China, all different places, and they speak different language, written language also. Now if I have a policy document and I can push it into generative AI can convert that into multiple languages. Can it convert into Hindi? Can it convert into Mandarin? Can it convert into Taiwanese? And so on. Previously, we need to have a subject matter expert who knows Chinese, who knows Taiwanese language, and then correctly create that document. Now we don't need. So as an example, can you take a document, create the document in Telugu or Hindi? Maybe your resume in Hindi or Telugu. Simple example, right? Right? You have to create an application. You can create an ability where you have a nice UI, an upload button. You upload your resume, your friend's resume, anybody's resume, and then it will convert into Hindi or Telugu. Possible? We will see like whether it is useful or not, that's a different case. You are applying jobs in China, then you might need Chinese resume. Correct? So I'm just giving an example, but this is a small project. Every one of you can do it. Okay? Similarly, the applications, we are also creating something called as knowledge bases. Using generative AI, there is tons of knowledge available in the bank, in companies. Can we push all the knowledge in terms of documents, in terms of PDFs, in terms of what we say, Confluence pages, Jira tickets, SharePoint data? Okay, you have heard these names for the first time. Just think that these are some places where you can do documentation. Imagine you take all the documentation sources and can you create knowledge bases? What is a knowledge base? It can be the knowledge base of wealth management. Okay, you can ask that any question. Should I take this personal loan given my financial conditions? I have already 2 loans and I am paying so much EMI, and this is my special case. Can I take a loan? And it will recommend saying that, boss Sitaram, already having loans, this much is the EMI, you are only getting this much salary, and looking at all these things, it is not recommended to take a loan. Understood? These are the practical use cases. The practical use cases where we are trying to create these kind of applications. That is about generative AI, where we are trying to generate new information. Then we go one step further, is our Agentic AI. Okay, so you understood generative AI. I will use something called as large language models. Okay, for generative AI, we use LLMs. Typical LLMs are the ones, we have something called as frontier models and then open source LLMs. Frontier models are from OpenAI, we have from Anthropic Cloud, we have from Google Gemini. So these are called as frontier models. And then we have open source LLMs, the Llama models, the models from DeepSeek, right? We have Mistral based models and so on. These are all open models, right? Free to use. In our example, there is one example. I'll not go to the code, but if you require code, I will share it with the organizers. They will share it with you. We're just going to understand what is Agentic AI, and I will talk about one practical use case so that you will understand what is it doing. Okay? Can we go to the next slide? Picture abhi start hua, right? So there are two customers. I'm giving an example of two customers. One customer is this person. Let her name as Priya, and then Priya is having problem that she is calling the customer care agent for personal loan. Like, I'm having this issue with the personal loan. I recently made some payment. It is not reflecting in my account. That is a problem. Very generic problem, right? You call your customer care agents. That is what happening. Next slide. So then our customer care agent is talking. She is saying that generally all the customer care agents will have English names. Her name is Mary. Okay, and likewise. Okay, so she is saying that okay, definitely I'll help you. Before we proceed, I need to verify your identity, right? Is that you also call Airtel? They will say that can you confirm your mother's maiden name, your date of birth? Yeah, you have gone through that kind of cases. Yes, so that is important because they can't go and change your billing cycle or anything, right? They can't go and change your loans and all. They need to verify that. So when they ask it, you say, okay, my mother's maiden name is so and so, my date of birth is so and so, my phone number is so and so, my account number is so and so on. Correct? You are speaking. So that is the case. Second case. This is another person. This person is having issues with the credit card. So he's still calling the bank, and then he's saying, okay, I have my problems with credit card. Some issues are, there are some suspected charges. Some fees are there in the credit card. So he's having this problem. Next slide. So again, some Julie or somebody is saying that, okay, I understand the concern, let me check the information and so on and so forth. Okay. Next. So in this scenario, if you follow the trend, right, what is happening is the call is happening, somebody attending, the call center agent is attending the call. Based on the call center agent's expertise, he or she is suggesting the customer. Okay? If the call center agent is very expert and he or she can suggest, okay, this credit card has so and so problems, we saw that there are these fees on this credit card, we will remove the credit card fees, we saw that you are having requirement for personal loan and this much is your credit rating and you will get so and so personal loan and so on, right? So if the agent is expert, correct, the call center agent have to be expert, they need to know how to handle the customer. If the agent is not expert, can we create a system, an automated system which can take the call data and convert the call data into text as a transcript, pass the text to your model, your generative AI model, and determine lot of these things. Okay? So are you understanding? Generative AI does one piece where I give a document and summarize it, where I give a document, do some indentation, where I give a document and do some kind of processing or generate image, generate video. This is the purpose of generative AI. What Agentic AI does is, it goes one level further. Apart from doing LLM based calling, it also does calls to the underlying APIs or databases. Okay? Suppose you converted, you using generative AI, you convert the audio into text. That is the role of generative AI. Got it? Understood. That is one role of generative AI. You can use any LLM model which can take, basically we have cloud models, we have a lot of models available which can take speech samples and convert into text. That is role of generative AI. After that, can I do a direct call? From the text, can I retrieve the customer information? Understand? So retrieving customer information can also be done by generative AI. I give one transcript, and from the transcript I want to retrieve what is the customer mobile number, customer email address, customer date of birth, and all these details we can retrieve from the transcript. That can be done by another LLM. Okay. So we have two LLMs. If you are following the sequence, first LLM, what is it doing? Converting the audio file into text file. Second LLM, what it is doing? It is taking the text file and getting the customer information. Okay. Third LLM will do something else. The third LLM in the Agentic AI case, do a direct database call. Understand? I want to do a database call and verify whether this customer is valid or not. Understood? I can create a Python program. It can call my backend database. User ID is 001 and phone number is 9240 something something. Can I take this data, call the database, verify whether this customer is real or not? That is what? That is an agentic AI. That is called as an agent. Understood? An agent can be embedded along with LLM. The purpose of agent is to do either API calls or database calls or doing some other things. For example, agent can send emails. Got it? Agent can call backend databases. Agent can call underlying recommender systems. Our recommender systems are created by machine learning models. Okay? Now we are separating that. There are some recommender systems which are created by machine learning models. It is saying that so and so customer, we have to recommend so and so upgrade of credit card. Okay? So that is done by your recommender system. You are calling the database via an agent. Understood? So agentic AI has these two kind of characteristics, right? It is very beyond reactive, and it has highly adaptive kind of a nature. It will understand what is what action should be taken, right? Given multiple actions, it will by default determine whether should I call a verification agent. After the verification agent is done, should I interpret the transcript, understand this is regarding the credit card loan or credit card fees transactions, and should I call the credit card agent, and then after that do some other calling and so on. Are you understanding the flow? Right? So one agent, so this is about agentic AI, we will not go through the theory, but basically you understood, right? So one of them, it's very important, is it is having that goal oriented. Okay? The characteristics of agent is it is having the goal oriented. It has the self learning ability. It can understand what's happening, or how many calls happened, what calls happened in the back end, what is the data retrieved, based on the retrieved data, what actions to take. So it has this self learning ability, and it has this goal kind of a structure. What is the goal number one? So far we have seen what is the first goal? Convert the audio into transcript. That's one goal. Second goal, verify the, retrieve the user information from the transcript. Second goal. Third goal, verify to the database. Call the database, get the verification done. That is the third call. Fourth call, look at the transcript and understand what is this transcript about. Is the customer calling regarding credit card? Is the customer calling regarding loan? Or he is happy just calling just like that, he don't have any work in the weekend and just calling the bank and saying, kaise ho tum, right? Or is it like that, right? So if that is the third case is there, then we go into some other route saying that, okay, we will find out a sentiment of the call. Okay, we can create a generic agent which does the verification of the sentiment of the call. How did the call went? What were the key concerns of the call? All the key concerns were addressed or not. Okay, these are some of the important things, because if you see now, right, you are after the call is ended, they will ask you to give rating, right? Please give 5 ratings, sir. My salary is, right, dependent on your 5 rating, right? So they will request. So now we don't need all that stuff. Can we have an agent which checks all these things? Is the customer happy? What was the customer complaining about? Did the call center agent respond to the queries? Is the customer satisfied with the response? All that thing can be done by your LLM. Understood? So important one is the goal oriented. So the agentic AI systems are having these smaller goals. These goals can be put in the sequence order, or you can have different order, and then based on that the calling happens. Benefits, again, theory benefits is basically a lot of benefits are there. Now you can create this autonomous system, right? You don't need, now you can ask questions that, Siddharam, when this happens, then what happened to the customer call center agent, right? Poor guy will lose the job, right? That's a major question when many people ask, right? So AI is not going to take away the jobs, it is going to create new jobs. So we are in an era where we are trying to see that only these are the jobs which are available, but you guys, right, you guys will certainly work for another 20, 30 years, right? You will be witnessing lot many things, whatever we will not be witnessing, you guys will certainly witness lot many things, right? For example, can I go in 1 hour from here to US? Is it possible? No. Now it is not possible. Is it? Maybe it is possible after 10 years. Can be SpaceX, right? Can be SpaceX, you go like this and then go. Possible, nah? Yeah. So I'm giving this, so this can be superfluous thoughts that is it possible? I don't think this is possible. But just imagine, say 100 years back, if I say that I will do a call from here and somebody in US will hear my voice. Just imagine 100 years back. What people will think about us? This guy is a mad guy, okay? लगाओ यार इसको mental दवाखाने में भर्ती करो, right? How can somebody talk here and then somebody here in other part? Not only this room, the side room also they will not be here, correct? But now it is possible, right? I open a device and I say I see in the device 50 years back, if I say I can see somebody in that dabba and somebody in other part of the world can view me. 50 years back, if I would have said this, again people would have thought this guy is a mad guy, correct? That's what I am saying. Now if I say that you want to transfer money to her, 100 rupees, okay? Just you think and then transfer happens. Is it possible now? Not possible. Can it be possible? Maybe. How it is possible is something you guys have to do, right? I might be giving very, very superfluous kind of thoughts and ideas, but those are the job roles which are going to get created. Using AI, I can create those programs very easily. I don't have to spend my brain. I have the idea. This is what it has to happen. And with that idea, a lot of things can change, right? So that's the reason. So basically a lot of benefits are there. People think that it is improving efficiency, removing jobs and all that stuff, but it is going to create more jobs. Okay, you'll have more jobs. What are the areas it is used? Lot many areas. I am talking the example as a real example. Okay, this example we are doing right now, the call center example, right? So that is from a finance world. Next slide, please. So, so these are some of the design patterns. I will be talking about the goal decomposition a little bit. So I will be talking about a tool called as LangGraph, but I have to just check the time. Did I overeat? So it's afternoon session is very tough, right? You will get sleep. Right? Just now I had a full biryani, and this guy is talking about machine learning. He's confusing me, data warehouse, then that one, this one. Should I do data warehouse or visualization or Agentic AI? Come on, yaar. Correct? Afternoon sessions are very tough. Even you are here, you realize, right? You will see a bunch of people saying, oh, that kind of, I know that, I know the pain because it's very tough, right? So I'm trying to make sure that, give some examples so that you are suddenly awake and understand. So I'll again not bore with the theory. Goal decomposition is something we are trying to do. We will use a framework called as LangGraph. Okay, have you heard of LangGraph? Yes, so it's good then. So you don't know Agentic AI, but you heard of LangGraph. That's very nice, right? Absolutely brilliant. So next slide, please. So these are the frameworks. Now I am saying, right, the code can be done very easily. All you need is some kind of idea what you want to do, and then can I create that code. So as an example, I'll give you an example. Can you create a simple agent which can do some, say, for example, flight booking? Okay. So you have to create a simple agent which can do flight booking. You have some underlying calls which basically go to get the availability of flights, number of seats from location to location, like that, and then you create a simple chatbot. All these things you can nicely ask ChatGPT, it will give you nice steps. All you need to do is ask and create, right? Simple chatbot, can you guys create? Yes, promise me. So the exercise was the deployment of the iris model. Okay, that's one exercise. Second one is creating a very, very simple chatbot which can take data and book a flight. Okay, it will ask to location, from location, which dates, and then it gets the availability of the flight, and then finally say, congratulations, your flight is booked. Got it? So that's an assignment, guys. So I'll show you one example with LangGraph. I'll just go through a simple code. I'll also give you the code, actual code of the application, so you guys replicate that also. The frameworks which are popular are these ones: LangChain, LangGraph, Agno, Crew AI, and Semantic Kernel by Microsoft. Right? These are some of the frameworks which are popular. You don't have to learn everything. Very, very popular recent one is Agno. Have you heard of Agno? Okay. So Agno is very easy, simple. Very, very easily you can create some agent. Okay. Go to agno.com or agno.ai something. Just search Agno in Google. You will get to their documentation page, and then it will have 4 or 5 pages. You can easily create agents with no problem. Okay, the example which I told, create a flight booking agent. You can create, you will not believe me, you can create within 1 day. And 1 day is also I took, like from morning till evening, you're going to biryani point, you're going to meet somebody and doing all that stuff, and then sitting for 1 hour and then doing the code. Right? That's the estimate I'm giving. So you can try Agno, but the one which I'm showing is LangGraph. So the components of LangGraph, as we are seeing, the Agentic AI is having these goals. Okay, so there is goal 1. What was the goal 1? Which has to convert audio into text. That's goal 1. Second goal is retrieve the information from the transcript. Second goal. Third goal, call the database, verify whether agent is, whether the customer is authenticated or not. Third goal. So we can create these small programs, the goals, in terms of nodes. Okay. The nodes can be in sequential manner, or it can have some condition. So here is an example of a sequential node. What are these nodes? They are just Python programs. Okay. Simple Python program doing some basic thing. A Python program calling an LLM, giving a video or audio, and then getting a text. That is one Python program. A Python program which is giving a transcript and just retrieving 4 or 5 informations about the name, mobile number, date of birth, and so on. So those are the Python programs. So I can create these nodes in terms of sequential manner. I can also have a conditional node. Where will the conditional node be there? For example, if the agent is authenticated, then I have to go further. I have to retrieve the transcript and understand what is the problem. If the agent is not authenticated, I have to go out and end the transaction saying that thank you very much, your details are not authenticated, please call back again with proper details. Understood? So this is a condition. So you can create such kind of conditional nodes where they have this condition, and based on the condition it goes to node 1 or node 2. Understood? So that is the second one, conditional edge. Are you able to see the code? This is the code you have to write. simple code about I'm creating few nodes. Every node is having some Python program, and then I trigger first Python program, second Python program, third Python program, and then end. Can we do it? The Python program can be simple. Do an addition, after the addition do a subtraction, after the subtraction do a multiplication, and then give the result. Right? As simple as it. So just look at it. We create something called as a state graph in the first line, and then after that we add these nodes. Nodes are nothing but those Python programs, Python samples of node 1, node 2, node 3, and node 1 is a starting node. After the node 1 there is a conditional check in this example. It is doing some condition check. Based on the condition check, it either goes to the node 2 or node 3. Okay. After it completes either of program, so if it goes to node 2, it does something in the node 2 and then goes to end. Got it? The next one. Next one. So this is a simple example where you are creating a tool or an agent with the LLM calling. Okay, we are calling the GPT-4o mini. You can call any model. You can call this will cost us, but you can use any model from Grok. Have you heard about Grok? So Grok is, you can go to console.grok.com. You can register to any of those. You basically create the keys, and then you will be able to use any free models. Okay, Llama models and all. So instead of the chat open, you will be able to use any of the basic free model. So what is it doing is, I create a tool, and the tool I am binding it with my LLM. That's what it is doing. So the LLM is now capable of giving generic answers as well as doing whatever the tool does. Okay, so that is the case. Next. So this is how the tool calling happens. So you can say like I have the add the tool calling tool. I can have add a tool agent. Starts with the starting node, then goes to the LLM which does the tool calling, and then finally goes to the end. Next. So if you do a conditional tool calling, this is how it works. Imagine I can have a tool calling node which does some conditional edge. Based on the condition, it will go to one side or the other side. This you can think like our verification agent. The verification agent, if it doesn't verify, it goes to the end. If it verifies, it goes to next module. Okay, credit card module and so on. I'll go to the next one. So this is the real project which I wanted to talk about, but some other day. This is the one we are working right now. The example which I told. So we are creating an intelligent banking agent. Now if you can relate this, it is having the master agent. What will a master agent does? It calls different tools or agents. Okay. So what we have verification agent. Verification agent basically does the verification. Then you have loan agent. Loan agent is giving information about loans, recommendation about loans and so on. Credit card agent, any issues, concerns regarding the credit card, it will give that information. And then finally, sentiment agent, a basic agent. A sentiment agent, imagine if all the calling does complete, it will finally call the sentiment agent and then get the sentiment of the call. How did the call went? What were the key issues? Were the issues resolved? Were the agent able to respond to the issues or not? All those things the LLM will verify from the transcript. Understood? Now you understood what is Agentic AI? Yes. What is Agentic AI? It's a combination of generative AI along with some kind of agents or tools. These tools are nothing but you can do an API call, you can do a database call, you can do any other call. You combine these combinations and then create your application. It goes one step further. Understood? So that's about it. Next slide. Okay, thank you. I hope I spent almost like an hour and I didn't bore you, hopefully. And thank you very much. If you want to connect me on LinkedIn, this is my LinkedIn ID. You can connect to it. Any questions? No questions? Some questions you should have. Yes, please.
So what is the purpose of sentimental analysis?
That's what
Why do we need that?
Yeah. So, for example, I need to analyze how the call went. Okay. The entire transcript, I need to analyze how the call went. What were the core issues in the call? Imagine I'm calling for my credit card fees. It needs to say that fraudulent fees, extra charges levied. So those are the problems. Okay. It needs to understand that by default. Then after that, did the agent respond to those questions? Because it is a transaction, we are calling, right, and the customer agent is talking to us. I say that, there are more fees levied in my credit card. Then the customer agent will say, I understand that. Let me check your bank history. I will see that, okay, I saw that on April so and so date, there is this credit card transaction. You did some purchase. For that, there are these additional fees. I will check with the bank and then I will remove the charges. This is the the call center agent response. So I have to analyze whether the call went properly or not. Okay. So just imagine a visual UI page. Call center agent is talking to the customer on the phone, and then you call it and you say my mobile number is so and so. There is a tick mark saying that customer is verified automatically. And then you say I am having issues with my credit card, I have so and so fees. Then it is giving me suggestions that, okay, credit card charges on April 29th, this charges happened. You understanding what's happening? So you are having an application and this is happening in real time. You are not doing any query, you are not writing any SQL, you are not invoking any function and so on. I am talking to the customer and the transaction is happening in the backend. After the entire transaction is complete, then I have to find out the sentiment, how the call went. In the sentiment, it will also give what should the customer agent talk. In the end, you will say like, thank you very much. I hope you got our कीमती समय देने के लिए धन्यवाद, and hope I have like solved your problem and so on, right? So the agent will talk something, and that's all scripted. He is not giving any thought to the brain. He is clearly scripted. It is clearly coming on the screen. He is just reading that. Now, what should be that message? Given the context of the call, what should be that message is sentiment analysis will give. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? That person.
Good evening, sir. Like you told us, like nodes are like mini parts of a Python program, right? So Python existed for a long time. So why didn't people use like agentic concept? Maybe generative AI come these days, like 2022, 2023. But agents were also implemented in those days also. Like Python mini programs can be connected also. So why agentic AI like presently is more trending?
Good question. So agentic AI is not new. Previously we used to call it as RPA, right? Robotic Process Automation. Okay? Robotic process automation means I know what is the first step, after that what is the second step, after that what it has to do. So I can create this chain, an automation chain, where it can do step A, step B and step C. So agentic AI is a flashy way of renaming the RPA, because it is combining generative AI capabilities as well as the RPA capabilities. Understood now? It's there also. The name was different. RPA. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much and have a nice day. I hope you liked the session. I'm glad to talk to you again some other time. Thanks to Swecha. They are doing a wonderful job. All the claps goes to them, because of them we are here, and great work happening. Okay, thank you.